Hello guys, Vengensir here, and boy do I have a video for you today. You already know by the title, so I'll just say welcome to class. I'm going to teach you gamer terms, and yes, I titled it Gamer Terms for Boomers. If you're 45 plus, never played a game in your life, but want to get into it because your kids, grandkids, whatever, are into it, well, you're welcome. There's a lot of terms online used in the gaming community that a lot of people don't know. I've picked quite a few of them. By no means did I pick all of them, but we're going to go through them. MMORPG is going to be our first one, and that stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Role Playing Game. So, role playing game, that's a type of game. Basically, you take a character and you just it's like an online representation basically. So you take the characters through the game. They usually have stats and different ways to enhance your character. Simply put, it's like you being in a game. Your character is an extension of yourself. Massively multiplayer online means that you play with other people online. Simple enough. MOBA is another game style, and it is massive online battle arena. So the what that means is that it's online with a bunch of players. You're put into an arena. So League of Legends is a good example of this. And you just battle it out to the last man standing. Usually it's team based, teams of 3, teams of 5 on each side, and you versus each other. And there's usually an objective to win. Either you destroy the other person's base, or you reach a set number of kills, or you're just the last team standing. MMR stands for Match Making Rank, and this is basically how the game determines who you should be matched against in games against other players. Simply put. I got to move quickly, so I'm not going to go into super huge detail about all this, but I'm going to give a brief overview. NPC means non-player character, basically the computer. In a lot of these RPG games and games in general, you'll see a lot of characters around that are not controlled by anybody. They're controlled by the computer. Those are NPCs. They're non-player characters. All right, so we got some other terms that aren't really. These are more words that players say to each other. So noob is someone. Basically, if you're bad at the game, you're a noob. There's there's another variation which is noob, and that would be someone new at the game. But noob, N-O-O-B, is basically like an insult. It's someone that is maybe not new at the game, but someone that plays like they're new at the game. Nerf means, well, let's consider this. You have real guns and you have Nerf guns. Real guns are powerful, Nerf guns are not. So you kind of see when a character is nerfed, it means they've basically been stripped of some of their power. They get a reduction in power. So people say, "Oh, my character got nerfed." It's basically a bad thing. Reduction in power by game developers. We'll put it at that. Okay, so this is a big important one. LOL means laugh out loud, and you have different. As time has went on, there has been different versions of this. LOL wasn't laughable enough, so then you got LUL, and then they went to LEL, and then you got KEKW, which is the newest freaking variation of that. So laughing or laugh out loud. KEKW is like the Korean version, I believe, or Japanese. It's one of the Asian versions of LOL. And then we have another variation of this, which is laughing my ass off. Moving on. You may know some of these terms just from like Facebook and just texting in general. But OP stands for overpowered. If a character is overtuned, or the developers have put in something that has made the character just completely annihilate all the other characters when you're fighting against them, overpowered is pretty much the term that is used. A party is a group of people working towards the same thing. Not like a party out at in college, but a party is basically you form a party together, and in the game's UI, you have a nice little party menu. Everyone's grouped together, so if you do monster kills in the game, you share the experience, that kind of thing. It's basically like a union. Patch. A patch is an update to the game. That's how the developers push out new stuff to the game. P2P is pay to play. These would be if you're playing a game that you have to pay monthly for a subscription for them. P2W is pay to win, and that's basically if you can spend real money to gain an advantage over someone else in the game. Pay to win is kind of a controversial term. Some people like it, some people don't. Most people don't. PK is player kill, and this is another gaming term where you basically kill another player. And I'm gonna go down the list just a little. We'll just wait a second, and I'll talk more about player kill. Pog is player of the game. People use this a little bit out of context, but Pog means basically exactly what it means. Player of the game. If you're doing really well and you're carrying your team, say in a MOBA style game, or if you're just in a PvP match, which PvP stands for player versus player. So if you are in one of those types of situations and you're the last guy left and you manage to win the game, you're player of the game. PvE is player versus environment. So this is going to be, as you're running around in these RPG games, you're going to be in a state of against the elements of the game, against environment, against monsters. Usually it means against monsters or boss monsters or anything else that is not related to fighting another player, because that brings you to PvP, which is player versus player, and you'll end up fighting another player for one thing or another. Sometimes there's open world PvP, which means anywhere in the game world you can be killed by another player. Sometimes it's instance, which means you can only be killed by another player in a certain area, and that kind of stuff. A quest is a task given to the player to complete, usually rewarded with items. So to get items in the game, usually you do some quests and you'll get rewarded with stuff. These quests are usually given to you by an NPC, a non-player character. So one of the characters built by the game developers and set up in the game in a stationary spot. They have their little routes that they take and their pre-coded things that they do. There will be quests, and you talk to them. They'll ask you to do a task. You go do the task, come back, they give you your reward. Alright, so big one, respawn. This is when you load in. So every time you load into the game, your character is generated at a location, which in some games is wherever you logged off at. Other games it has a designated spawn, and that's why it's called respawn. So when you're loaded in and your character is initialized, it's called spawning. And if you die and you click confirm, respawn, whatever, respawn means you're regenerating. If you have lives left in a arcade style game, or if you're in an RPG style game and your character dies and you click OK, it will respawn you. You'll have full health again or partial health again, and you'll be back to life. So, regenerating the character. Alright, so some more PvP terms. Another one, Smurf, is when a skilled player creates a new character to fight non-skilled players. So basically a skilled player goes and creates a new account or a new character. So in League of Legends, it's a MOBA style game. A skilled player will go make a new account so that they're low level, and they will fight against players of lesser skill level, and they're known as a Smurf when they do that. TBH means to be honest. Self-explanatory. A troll is a prankster. Prankster or trickster. So my definition of troll may be a little different than some people on the internet. I look at a troll as like a jester, someone that likes to play pranks. Other people will look at a troll as somebody that just wants to create controversy and bad things. They're all correct, but it depends on how you view. So I look at it as a prankster or trickster. UI stands for user interface. User interface. The user interface is basically the menus and stuff inside the game. Every digital thing has a user interface. Your computer, Microsoft Windows, has a user interface. That's when you click the Windows button. All the menus and stuff you go through, that's a user interface. Same with your phone. If you have Android or Apple, they have user interfaces when you click on stuff. And that's how the programs in the phone interact with the user. F2P means free to play. A lot of games don't charge you to play, but they have microtransactions. Microtransactions are things you can buy through a cash shop. And I guess I should have added microtransactions on here, but it's basically going to an in-game digital shopping mall and you can buy stuff. That's what a microtransaction is. AFK is very important. It means away from keyboard. It's basically what you tell somebody if you're going to jump up from your computer and got to go run to the bathroom or something, and you'll be right back. BRB means be right back. Kind of like AFK, only, a little bit different. Be right. You can use them interchangeably, or you can use them together or separate. Doesn't really matter, but they mean almost the same thing. AMA means ask me anything. Self-explanatory. Just wanted to get the definition out there. All right, a bot. Basically, in the world of gaming or computers in general, you can build a computer program known as a bot, and the computer program will do certain tasks that it's programmed to do. And some people have figured out how to build these bots to control their game for them so they don't have to be there. Someone that is using one of these programs, usually they're against the rules of the game. You can get banned for them, in trouble. Don't do it. Disclaimer, blah, blah, blah. But doing so can get you advantages. So say you got to go kill a monster 400,000 times to accomplish whatever goal you're trying to accomplish. Well, most people don't want to sit there and do that, so they figure out how to make a bot that will kill the monster over and over for them, and then they just leave it up killing. You can usually tell a bot if someone's doing the same actions, they won't respond to you, and their movements are very clunky or the same pattern over and over again. But that is a computer program designed to do a task in-game. And some people just call other people bots as an insult as well. Can be used as an insult. And I'm going to call it a soft insult because, you must be a bot if you're playing really badly. People might say that. All right, so to camp or camper is stay in one advantageous spot in the game. So to camp is to stay in one spot that is very advantageous over every other spot instead of moving around. So this will be a term in this is a big term in FPS, first-person shooter games like Call of Duty. Probably heard of those. people just get decent weapons. They'll sit in one spot and just watch that one spot and wait for people to come across them instead of moving around. People can complain about campers. It's a very good strategy, although it's kind of frowned upon. DLC. How to explain this? Technically, patches are DLC, but DLC is usually separate content from a main game that is downloadable content. Basically, almost like expansions or upgrades, you usually have to pay for them. Sometimes they're included in games, or you'll get a pass that includes all DLC. For games like Call of Duty, DLC would be weapon expansions, different things like that, or separate game maps, that kind of stuff. Patches are a little different, where patches are just updates to the base game where you don't have to pay for them. DLC you usually do have to pay for. Alright, feeder, or feeding, that is when you intentionally let your character die to other team. This usually happens in player versus player games, PvP games, in the MOBA style, where the really advantage you get is by killing another player to get more resources, and then further overpower the other team because you have more resources. You'll get somebody on a team that is feeding or feed kills, so they'll just run in and die to the other team over and over again, and the other team will gain a huge advantage off of that. That's what feed or feeder or feeding means. Farm or farming is exactly what it sounds like. Gathering of resources in game, or killing same monsters over and over. So basically, if you're farming a boss, you kill that boss over and over and over and over and over again until you get what you're looking for. And that's pretty much all it is. You know, you're just sitting there killing the same things over and over again. Or if you're farming certain items, say like the game that I normally play on my channel is Black Desert. So if I'm farming resources through gathering, I'll just go and I'll gather the same thing over and over and over again, and that is known as farming, or to farm. Gank would be how do I want to explain this? Gank or ganking is basically teaming up on the enemy team. You'll see this in MOBAs. So in League of Legends, it's a tower defense game where you have to defend your nexus, and there are 3 towers between before you can get to the nexus. And there are 3 lanes, so the map is kind of a diamond shape with 2 outside lanes along the edges and then 1 lane up the middle. And say the team is 5 people, they split into the lanes. So you have 1 person in the 1 lane, 1 person in the middle lane, and then usually 2 people will go in the bottom lane, and then you'll have 1 guy that just runs around in the middle because there's monsters in the middle and like a jungle, little environment in there. That guy from the jungle will run into one of the lanes and help the guy that's in the lane fight the other team that's in the lane, and that's known as a gank. You're running in and helping your teammate. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Pretty self-explanatory. Kind of the same thing as POG, only elevated. FPS stands for first person shooter. It's another style of game over role-playing and MOBA. There are a lot of different styles of games, but I only picked a handful. IRL stands for in real life. So stuff going on outside of the game. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to wrap this up real quick because we're approaching 20 minutes. HP stands for health or hit points. MP stands for mana points. And mana is a resource required to use skills. You'll see this in a lot of games. Even in League of Legends, they have mana and health. But health points is how many, that's your character's life. How many times you can get hit or how much damage you can take before you die. Mana points is just the amount of mana that you have on your character, and mana is just a resource most skills require to be used. Sometimes this will be replaced with stamina or energy, depending on the game you're playing. And that's all I have for that. XP. These are known as experience points. They are required. Most RPGs require experience to level up to the next level. So in RPGs, your character has a level, and even in most games now, the characters have some kind of leveling system where you start out level 1 or sometimes 0, but mostly level 1, and then you gain so much experience for doing things in the game, killing monsters or other players, or just gathering stuff, an abundance of things. That's how it keeps track of your character's progress. You get enough, you hit the threshold, you bump up to the next level, 2, 3, on up, and then there eventually will be a level cap in most games. Some games don't. There will be a soft cap. You can keep going, but it gets exponentially harder. And the last term I am going to go over today is mod. So this is a moderator, however you want to spell it. But that is a person that moderates the game, forum, website, what have you. Could be developer or third party that publishes the game, or website, forum, whatever. Basically, they make sure that everyone's following the rules. If you're posting stuff or saying bad words or whatever, you can get silenced, banned, kicked out, whatever you want to, whatever punishment they want to deal out based on their arbitrarily set rules. Kind of like the police. They're kind of like the police of the online gaming forum website, and it isn't like there's just one single team. Each company has their own team of mods that they hire. It's kind of like their own private security. But that's what I got on that. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope whenever you're out there interacting in games, for you guys that are older, I hope it helps you a little bit. You got any questions? Leave me a comment. And for you guys that are younger, I hope this brings you a little bit of entertainment. I know it's just a white sheet on there, but it's quite a few terms to go over in a short amount of time. So hope you enjoyed. If you did, sub. There's always more content. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And as always, until next time.